Hey everyone, Mr. Clutch here on Thursday, May 18th, 2023. I'm starting with my chart today on the daily because very important day for both SPY and QQQ. If you look here on SPY, we closed at 419.23 and that is our highest close since we're looking back at August of 2022. So 9 months. I think looking at this, we've got a pretty clear shot up here to 422 up to 426, somewhere in there, 427. And I tweeted back earlier, you could go back and find it, early April, when we broke this trend line here. And I did, let's see, this was probably early April, late March. It was looking to me like we were bound to test this high here at 417, and now we have. So we've cleared that. I think I called for 412 first, and I was looking at fibs on that. You could pull them from here to here, and there's some nice fibs that line up here. But then here was a solid one, and then I had one that went to like 422.50. I think that was the 618, maybe, yeah, probably, or maybe a 50 somewhere in there. I'd have to look back, but there's. We've pretty much got clear skies up here to about 427. So that's where I'm looking at next target. So I like the chances of us continuing to move up and trend up here. And you look at the macro structure here. You were making lower highs all the way down here. We come up, we still got a lower high here, but now we make a higher low. So this is where we're starting to look for a trend change. And this is where a lot of times you can really enter long positions, like long time frame positions, when you see the structure change. So now as we get into here, we've made a higher low. Now we've made a higher high. So at this point we're thinking, okay, we're changing. It doesn't mean you enter here just because you don't know until, you're still going to come down and make another higher low. So here we make a higher low again, not by much, but it is a higher low. And now we're working on our higher high here. So the structure's changing. So we'll play that until the chart tells us different. Let's dive into the 2 minute now and look at our day that we just had and see what we can take from it. I had a lot on the chart earlier. Let me get rid of some of this. And we'll go back and start from scratch. So I think we've got our zones marked here. Yeah, they look pretty good. I didn't have a chance to remark zones today. I was out most of the day, so I got some nice trades in at the end of the day. Caught a lot of this here. But so my zones may be off a little bit. Let's just look at our 2 minute strategy here. So as we're coming out of the open, yesterday we closed in here, and it looked like we were making a run up in pre-market, and it just sold off. And Casey had this 414.45. Maybe I did update my zones this morning because I know I've added this morning. He had this 414.45 level marked, and look at that, man. The guy was on point with that because it one candle, 2 minute candle through, the next one almost up, reclaimed it, and never looked back. So out of the pre-market, you could have drawn something like this here, and we see these out of the pre-market time and time again that you line these up lately and just play the break and you're off. I mean, look at that move. You would have got in on there. You got to be careful though. I like these longer lines instead of trying to play something steep. I talk about that a lot. I'm not a big fan of the steep lines. You still would have got in really well and played it well, but you just draw that out in the pre-market. You go away for a couple hours. Here it is. It's breaking it. It breaks your EMAs. It's breaking into the zone. And you could have rode that up and had a really nice move. So a lot happened today, though. There was a lot of opportunities to get in. You can get in back here. It doesn't quite make it to 13, so you may not make it in. And you're really, up to this high, it's kind of tough to find an entry. I don't know where you want to, like I said, this is such a steep sell-off and then reclaim. I don't see an entry there that I like. This one above, you might have been able to play something off of. You probably could have zoomed in and just connected those two wicks. said, I talk about this a lot. I like to try to just connect the wicks, and let's see what happens later when we intersect it. So you get your 3 wicks there, it sells off through, comes back, makes contact, pushes through, 417.7. So not a big move there. But one of the moves I would have been watching, as soon as we put this in and we put this in, I'm drawing this out. Probably wouldn't have got that because, I mean, you may have tried, but your 200's right there. And we see 200 hold and bounce hard quite a bit with your zone below you. I don't think we take that. A lot of this I'm looking at. I didn't play the early part of the day, so a lot of this I'm looking at the first time and kind of thinking through it here. You could always, sometimes you can play these lines like this where you don't come from like a point way down here, but you see a nice trend line that forms. I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could probably do 6, 7, or 8 touches. When it breaks here, maybe you get in. But EMAs are backwards here still, so I don't love it. We're still looking up at this point, so I'm not necessarily trying to take a short when I'm thinking we're trending up. EMAs are stacked really nice. They've spread out through all this. So a little cool off and back through the 48. I'm still waiting. And then, you know, sometimes we take the plays where we we lose the 200, we maybe get in on a candle close, but not with our zone right here. Look how well that zone held. Very well. So then we enter the chop zone, and what do we do a lot on the chop zone? We draw these lines across here and go, okay, well, let's just stay out of the chop. I don't want to play in the chop. And then we'll start looking for moves once it comes out. So the middle part of the day, you really just want to avoid trading, in my opinion. If you come up here, now you're looking for, okay, now we've cleared it. Our EMAs are lining up again the right way right in here. We're looking for a pullback. Well, you're probably your biggest or second biggest candle of the day is the pullback, and that's not one you're longing off of. A nice little flag off that, and it sells back off. So you're getting down in your zone, and let's just think about the thought process here, okay? As you come down here and we're selling off, it's looking like, well, maybe that was a quick run up, and now we're headed back to the bottom. So at this point right here, as you see this flag come and almost a 13 sells back off, you're getting down here. This is where your thought process needs to be one of two things. Okay, we're going to bounce out of this zone. This zone's going to hold. It's important. You can go back and look. This is where our high of the day was yesterday. This is where we rejected a little here. We kind of stopped here a little before we broke through it. So one way or another, this is either going to break or we're going to bounce out of it. So now you're looking at two things to set up your next plays. If we bounce out of it, we need to flip the EMAs. This is a mess here if we get out of it. If we break down, we have a really good chance of finding a flag and taking it farther. We get out of this zone, chances are we're heading back to our zone below, or at least this level in between. So that's where you're starting to think, okay, if we can break out of here, I'll look for my pullback. This is where you're still being patient, though. You're still being patient. So that's what happens, though. We bounce out of it. Now we come up out of our little line we had drawn earlier there. EMAs are flipping back here. Okay, now we're looking. Now we're saying to ourselves, where can we find entry? And it doesn't get much better than that. A nice clean walk back to the 13. Touches the 13. You enter there. You get a nice run up of, half a dollar. You could probably, if you want to hold through that, you're still in. You could run it all the way up to here. So nice opportunity there. Same thing here, and this might even have been a better one to get in on. You slightly lose the 13. You slightly lose the 13 here, but not by much, and then it just pushes back out. So if you enter here, you don't ever come back near your entry the rest of the day. Closest you come is 40 cents to it, and you can ride that out the rest of the day. If you're still not in yet, here's another one. We just perfect flags back the rest of the day. This one's not necessarily it's more of like kind of a vertical line. You could draw something like that. Off the top of that, it reclaims it here. You get in. So definite entries. But what this shows you is we see this a lot even on trend days. You start the move, you consolidate, you sell off a little, you consolidate. In basically this range from here to here, we're just kind of bouncing around, and who knows what the market makers are really doing here. But This is not the kind of action, especially through here, that we want to be involved in. Let it clear, let it retest, let it give you a flag. Don't get antsy on a lot of these. Now, one that I did see and liked that I took, I don't remember if it was on QQQ or on SPY. Let me get rid of some of these. As we talk about our longer trend lines sometimes. This here was clear, this here was clear, then I was watching this. Actually, I think I took this on Qs and got a nice move now that I'm remembering. We came here, so once you hit here, you draw this trend line out. You say it's kind of what we did back here earlier. If price comes back to this, then I'll be watching. And what did it do? It came back, it had a little trouble, it actually gave you a bull flag right here, and then it pushed through, and it did it one more time. Now I'm remembering this. I think in Discord, we may have taken this play on one and then kind of got out up here, but then it did it again and took off again. So these longer trend lines, just watch them. These are my favorite ones to play when they line up with our EMAs and they give you a good entry off of them, right? So if our EMAs were flipped wrong here and not looking good, or we had a 200 right above or a zone, not necessarily going to love that play. But when you have clear skies ahead, your EMAs are lined up, you can look at these longer trend line breaks. So let's look at Qs. We're going to start back on the, actually, yeah, see, I already have that long trend line drawn out. Let's go back to the daily, though. I want to look at the macro here. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah, look at this. Our highest close in over a year, 13 months. April 14th, I believe. Right, that candle right there was our last highest close. April 19th of 2022, over a year, this is our highest close. Qs actually looks really good to get up to this 345 here. You see, we've kind of got a level here. Maybe a little, maybe we'll hit our head here a little 345, and then it's off to the 365 range. This is looking really, really nice for some trending days ahead. Oh, let me go back to that. Let's go back to our 2 minutes. Look at our action here today. So I don't think I got the zones updated on Qs. Maybe I did on SPY. So once again, you've got a trend line here. Wouldn't that have been nice to just take that? You know, you could have even redrawn it after you broke out. Could have put something like that. This isn't perfect over here. Actually, that's not bad right there. Actually, draw a trend line like that. Why don't you just get in on the first candle of the day at 331? Close your position at 337. You had a really good day. So this is a very nice trending day on Qs. I'm looking here as we go up. This is kind of one of those plays where it's like we have this like flat breakout where we don't really have a flag that comes down back to the 13, but it kind of has this clear horizontal line it can't get through. So, you know, you may have taken this here thinking this was our breakout. Maybe you get stopped here, or you let it hold for the 13 and you play it out. But then it comes back here and you have a really good entry. And you're making you're having a really good play here, riding that up. Maybe you sell on this little pullback. We talk about these steep ones. I don't love the steep ones. So what I love to do if you have such a steep sell-off, and not always, it could reclaim it quickly. You'll see this steep sell-off, reclaim, kind of bounce around, but it creates this second area to connect our trend line to. And this is the one we're watching. Like, look, you just connect these back here, and this actually hits against it. So you know there's something about this trend line, right? You put this back here, and you just connect these wicks right here, and you just sit there. You know, you don't do anything for 20, 30 minutes. You let this sell off. Look, these are coming back, and they're getting stopped there. So as soon as this starts coming through here, you know it's a little different than what this has been. It's finally got the speed to get through there. You can enter there and get a nice entry and ride that up. Maybe use trailing stop here, but still for a nice play. So now we're selling off here again, like we talked about on SPY. We're still looking long. There's nothing that we're looking at here that makes us want to go short yet. I mean, you could be looking for scalps, of course, but not for our 2-minute strategy. EMAs are just getting jumbled up here. We've got our 200 still below to support us. This thing comes back up. Now we're looking for our pullback, and there's that giant candle that we had on SPY. No pullback. So now we just connect those two trend lines and look how this plays out the rest of the day. boom. You're enter here, 335, you get a $2 move before the close. That'll move really quick. So again, when there's clear points here you can connect, and this was hitting against and showing us, it was almost validating this trend line, going, look, we climbed out of here fine, but when we got here, we were hitting it, we were selling off, we hit it again, we sold off, couldn't get through, boom, reclaimed, and we're gone. And so I was able to enter here and get a nice move up as well. If you missed that, we always talk about you get late in the day, you're kind of just gambling a little bit, but there was a nice little flag there you could have got in and got some more out of. So anyways, with that said, hopefully this was helpful today, and hopefully you were able to catch some of these today. I know it was a really good day in the Discord. And yeah, looking at the macro, it looks like we could have a couple more trending days ahead. So just be patient. You know, it's easy to get antsy when we had all these chop days, and you're just trying to find an entry because you're antsy and you're overeager to find a spot to get in a play. If we have trend days, you won't need that. You'll have really good entries. So just be patient, find those entries, get your money, and get out. So that said, I'll try to do one of these again tomorrow, and we'll finish the week strong. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening, and finish Friday with a bang, everyone.